Evening, Mayor Newton, City Council. My name is Jeff Polk. I reside at 5705 Ponderosa Street here in Colleyville. I wanted to express my support for the zoning change for the property located at 1312 John McCain Road. I wanted to start by quickly pointing out what I believe is the reason this zoning change must be granted, and it's really quite simple. The proposed plat exceeds the goals stated in the comprehensive plan. Specifically, the comprehensive plan calls for a target lot density of 1.8 units per acre. Oak Alley not only meets that goal, but exceeds it by a very large margin with a 0.83 housing units per net acre. Furthermore, as stated in the comprehensive plan, neighborhood area 6, or Northwest Colleyville, where this property is located, currently has a 1.3 housing or dwelling units per net acre. This is a beautiful development that exceeds the stated goals in the comprehensive plan, while also protecting and preserving existing neighborhoods and strengthening the character of Colleyville. For these reasons, staff has recommended approval. Regarding the concerns of drainage, while some of these concerns brought by adjacent owners seem reasonable and certainly important, they have either already been addressed or will be during the plat approval and permitting processes. I would remind my fellow residents that engineer grading plans, including stormwater management plans, are addressed in detail during the permitting and construction processes, which are governed by the City of Colleyville and its staff engineer. I read a few letters in opposition stating that ag zoning should not be allowed to be changed to residential zoning. Obviously, this is not right, but I would want to remind those making that complaint that if that were true, Colleyville would currently have 300 residents and the house you live in wouldn't exist. And should this landowner not enjoy the same rights allowed the original landowner subdividing his land where your house is now? Of course he should. Using the same faulty logic, the owner of the subject property could have also tried to prevent development, rezoning, or subdividing of adjacent properties on the basis that those proposed plats did not meet the same one dwelling unit per 40 acres ratio found on his land. This brings me to what I believe is most important. Personal property rights are the cornerstone of a free society. And our government, in this case the City of Colleyville, established under the framework of a representative republic and limited in its scope by the Constitution of the United States, exist in large part to protect those personal property rights. Of course, when land is incorporated and a city is established, all resident landowners submit to a governance that will protect the broader community interest as well. But even the community interest or common good is rooted in personal property rights. The very reason we do not live in a true democracy where majority rules, and why true democracy does not ever really exist, is that majority rule often leads to an infringement on those personal rights. Benjamin Franklin famously said that democracy is like two wolves and a lamb voting on what to eat for lunch. I shudder at the thought of what the history of our country would look like if every decision was put to a popular vote. Would war have been declared on the Axis powers to liberate half of Europe and end the Holocaust? Would Reagan have been powerless to execute his strategy to bring about an end to the Cold War and bring freedom to the people of the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe? I do not apologize if this sounds heavy-handed. It's intended. And while no one is about to commit genocide against their neighbor here in Colleyville, the point is absolutely applicable. So today, should a group of property owners decide that an adjacent property cannot be developed simply because they prefer it remain undeveloped for their benefit? These examples are precisely why our founders established our limited government as a representative republic and not a democracy. It is why you, our representatives on the City Council, are voting on this ordinance rather than all of those willing to show up tonight. And as a representative, you're entrusted to do the right thing despite popular opinion, or in this case, a very vocal opposition. I want to assume the very best about my fellow residents opposing this zoning change, but I do want to ask each of you that opposes this zoning change if what you really desire is to ensure that you are able to continue to gaze upon and enjoy open space of land that you do not own. If you answer yes to that question, then I would suggest you're attempting theft of property. I would expect that most of you in opposition would not answer yes to that question and thus would not seek to restrict the rights of the owner to develop his land in a way that has already been shown to be consistent with the comprehensive plan and future land use. So what do you have left to oppose? Based on the facts laid out by the city staff, I'm struggling to find any real substantive argument for denying the zoning change. Those in opposition, I would encourage you to honestly consider your motives, and I pray you will consider supporting your neighbor and the property rights he enjoys, because we do still live in a free republic governed by law, at least for now, where property rights do matter. Council, I urge you to do what you obviously must do. Vote to approve this zoning change. A vote to deny the change is not only a loss for Colleyville, it is a blatant infringement on the rights of the owner. Thank you.